Lin-Manuel Miranda, man. He's one of the most conflicting figures in musical theater right now because on the one hand, he's this brilliant genius, right, who wrote Hamilton, which is this masterpiece, one of the best musicals ever written. He's got 2 Emmys and 3 Grammys and a cajillion Tony Awards and even a Pulitzer Prize. He's this close to winning that EGOT. But that Oscar keeps eluding him somehow. And his latest try for it is in Mufasa, which is a prequel to The Lion King, which just came out. I went to go see it on Christmas Day, and I have some conflicting thoughts. So today, we're analyzing a song from Mufasa, namely, Bye Bye, the villain song, the follow-up to Be Prepared, if you will. So that's what we're looking at here today on Music Theater Theory. Whoa! A quick word from our sponsor before we start. Me. I'm sponsoring this video. So you know that musical I wrote, Tommy Rhodes? This one, the one that there's a poster of right here, the one that's getting a cast album, which drops on December 28th, and there's going to be a live stream album premiere right here on YouTube, and you can pre-save it already at the link in the description. You know that musical? Something else you should know about that musical is that we were nominated for the Broadway World Toronto Awards for Best New Musical or Play in the non-professional category, because I think that's how they categorize indie stuff, I think. I don't really know how they do their categorizations. But if you go right now to broadwayworld.com/Toronto/awards, link in the description, you can vote for us. And it would be really, really helpful if you did. You just enter, this is your email 123, whatever it is. You scroll down here, you click continue, and then you can go through all of the categories. Just click no nominee if you don't know any of the other nominees. And then when you get to best new musical or play non-professional, click on Tommy Rhodes. It'd be a big help to us. It would be a big help to me personally to have this on my resume when I'm applying for my visa to immigrate to the US. So help a brother out. Give us a vote. Oh, and there is an ad that sometimes pops up here that is very deceptive and is a scam and will ask you to enter your credit card information. So do not ever enter your credit card information on this site. You don't have to. Just enter your email. That's all you need to enter in order to vote. I also want to shout out the Broadway Maven Rush Week, the first week of January. There's musical theater appreciation classes all week long for free over at thebroadwaymaven.com. I'm teaching a music theory segment in almost all of those classes. Check it out at the link in the description. Now, let's start talking about Bye Bye. So this song is brand new, which means that the sheet music isn't available yet to the public. So I just transcribed the melody by ear here. That's what you're looking at right now. Obviously, Mads Mikkelsen uses a bunch of vocal liberties, so I'm not 100% sure what Lin-Manuel Miranda actually wrote down on the page, but this is more or less what I think the musical intentions were. So this is what we're going to look at. The things I find really interesting about this song are, first of all, the scale that Lin-Manuel Miranda uses. The switch between major and minor is very interesting. Also, the way that the melody develops is really, really smart. A critique I have about this song, though, and I have this about all of the songs in Mufasa and almost everything Lin-Manuel Miranda has ever written for Disney, is that this song doesn't feel specific to the character. Like, this hook, Bye Bye, it's very playful. It feels like a great hook for a very flamboyant villain, a showman kind of villain. But in the rest of the movie, Kiros isn't like that at all. He's not a Team Rocket kind of villain, He's a Lord Voldemort kind of villain. He's 100% deadly serious the entire time. So why in this song is he being so playful? It feels incongruous with the character that we've come to know. And I don't necessarily believe that that's Lin-Manuel Miranda's fault. I mean, Lin-Manuel has proven that he is so good at writing specific for character voices. Look at, Wait for It from Hamilton. That's a masterpiece of understanding how this character of Aaron Burr thinks. I suspect that Lin isn't collaborating with the writers very much on these Disney movies. I suspect that the process that they have is the scriptwriters write the script and the animators storyboard it, and Lin writes some songs based on some vague prompts that he's given, and then someone else puts it all together. which is not how good musical theater is written, because in good musical theater, the songs are baked into the fabric of the plot and baked into the journeys of the characters. So that's the critique I have. I'll be pointing out specific examples in the lyrics as we go along. So the song starts like this. You say you're the king, but you lie around in the shade, out of shape, unafraid. The moon cuts a path through the sky, by night or by day. It doesn't obey, and neither do I. A few things I love about this melody. The first thing is these F sharps here, da-da, that lead up to that G at the beginning of each phrase. That's really cool. We're in C minor here, which usually uses an F natural. So the fact that we're getting that F sharp just gives it that creepy feeling. The other thing I love is this switch here from the C minor tonality. You say you're the king, but you lie around in the... Then we go to shade, this E natural. E natural does not exist in C minor. In C minor we get E flat instead. But in the melody we get around in the shade, which takes us to this kind of A minor tonality. So we're going between C minor and A minor. Those two tonalities don't fit in the same key. They are related to each other because C major is the same notes as A minor, but they feel like very loosely related. And the fact that we're going back and forth between them and they're both minor when one of them is supposed to be major, you know, it creates this really kind of creepy feeling. The last thing is these triplets that I love. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. There's so much power in the fact that Kiros is able to be lazy with the rhythm. You know, rather than going, you say you're the king, but you lie. Rather than being 100% on the beat like that, he's doing these very loosey-goosey triplets. You say you're the king, but you lie. Which gives him a little bit of swagger, you know? The way this melody develops is also really cool, because you have this phrase here, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, and then it repeats, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, but the second time, rather than changing anything, it's just kind of extended. So instead of going, ba-da-da-da-da-da-ba, ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da, the second time it goes, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, so there's just a little extra chunk added. That's a really cool way to develop a melody. The pre-chorus starts with this, you took my son, I hope you can run, 'cause I'm gonna be... And then we go into the chorus. This is a lyric I have a problem with. Actually, I have a bit of a problem with this one too. He starts singing about the moon. What does that have to do with anything? Like, the moon doesn't obey and neither do I. That's such a stretch to me. It doesn't feel like it has anything to do with the lyric beforehand. And then you took my son. Like, we know that. We know already that Mufasa killed his son. We watched it happen. So why is he just saying that? It doesn't make any sense for the character to say that. And this is an example of a situation where if Lin-Manuel Miranda was working with the scriptwriters, I imagine that they could have had a conversation. Hey, does the audience know yet whether or not Mufasa killed this guy's son? Oh, the audience does know already? Okay, cool. Then I don't have to put it in the song because the audience already knows it. And it's a cardinal sin to tell the audience something they already know. That is how you bore an audience easily. So that feels kind of weird. And then I hope you can run, like, I don't think that's the most clever or creative lyric in the world. I get that it's a little bit threatening, but I feel like there could have been something more original there. I also don't love that he squeezed in this extra 16th note for I hope you can run. Musically, it kind of wants to be an echo of this phrase. You took my son. Bum, 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 bum. So, like, you'd better run would probably be better, I think. But then we get to the chorus, and the chorus goes, 'Cause I'm gonna be the last thing you see before you go. Bye-bye. There you go. Bye-bye. Climb every tree across land and sea. I'll make you go. Bye-bye. I'll make you go. Bye-bye. I love this. I love this chorus. It's a banger. I really like how the melody develops out of the verse. So the verse, right, we get this very lazy triplet feel. Na da 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 da. But then in the chorus it becomes more rhythmic. Bum 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 bum. Instead of being perfect triplets where each note is the same length, we get this dotted eighth note and then this 16th tied to an eighth note, which makes up a dotted eighth note, but then this one is just an eighth note, and the dot extends the note length, and the tying the 16th note to it also extends the note length, so we kind of get this long, long, short, short, long, long, short, short, which just makes it more rhythmic compared to the lazy verse. So we're taking this laziness in the verse, we're developing it in the chorus by adding some rhythmic specificity to it. The other way we're developing it is these notes are almost the same, right? It starts with da 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 da. And if you just take out this note, or if you move this note up the octave rather, to C, you get these notes. Da 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 da. So by taking the melody from the verse and just moving one of the notes up the octave, he has a new melody, which can be a separate melody for the chorus, but it feels connected to the first melody. It feels like a logical extension of the verse melody, and I think that's a really, really good way to write a chorus. Then we have this little post-chorus section. Everything in my clutches, bye-bye. Everything the light touches. Into the verse. The circle of life is a lie. I think this is really, really cool. The first thing that's really cool about it is this bye-bye is a development of the bye-bye we've been hearing in the chorus, right? We keep getting bye-bye. And then here we get bye-bye. So it's the same kind of idea, but instead of a third, it's a fifth coming down. So it's a bigger interval and it's starting higher. So it feels like the musical idea is tied to the bye-byes we've been hearing. You know, it's on the same beat. It's eighth rest, eighth note, quarter note, eighth rest, eighth note, quarter note. But because the interval is getting bigger and it's starting higher, it feels like there's a progression there, a development melodically that's very, very satisfying. I also love that after this repeated phrase here, everything the light touches, the second time we hear that melody, because the first time is da-na-na-na-na-na, bye-bye, ba-na-na-na-na-na. Your expectation is that we're going to hear another bye-bye, but we don't. There's just this pregnant silence, this very threatening silence, and then he goes into the verse. And that subversion of the listener's expectation is really exciting and really, really satisfying. Now, the second verse is a really cool development of the first verse. Right, in the first verse, we had ba-da ba-da-da ba-da-da ba-da ba-da-da. Here, we're adding notes. Instead of ba-da-da-da-da, right? In the first verse, we had round in the shade. Instead, we have pretty way to say, so we're just adding a little eighth note, giving it that extra bit of energy. And then here, that circle of vultures up high. We're just changing one note, moving it up a little bit. Originally it was moon cuts a path through the sky. Originally it was that F. Now we're going circle of vultures up high. Otherwise it's almost exactly the same notes, but it's just that C that moves up. And then technically the F moves to A flat as well. So those two notes just move up a little bit. It gives the melody a little bit of an embellishment. So it feels like it's developing still. It feels a little bit new. And then here, this becomes this rapid fire stream of triplets, which is very hip hop, you know? Even though this is one of Lin-Manuel Miranda's least hip hop oriented scores, it still has this feeling. This is the same kind of triplet feeling as like, I'm in the cabinet, I am complicit at watching him grab it and empower it, kiss it. If Washington isn't gonna listen to discipline dissidents, that whole section from Washington on Your Side, that's all ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba, rapid fire triplets. And this is all rapid fire triplets too, which is a development, it's an increase in energy from the equivalent in the first verse, which was night or by day, stop. Then triplet, it doesn't obey, stop. Then triplet, and neither do I. This one doesn't stop at all. Keep stealing glances, they don't like your chances, and neither do I. An awesome little development. Then we get the pre-chorus again. This time, they do match the syllables. Remember I was complaining about that added little 16th note where it was just like, it felt like a thrown-in syllable. Here they are matching the syllables, which makes a little bit more musical sense. I run my pride, you run and hide, which also is a little bit clever, you know. I run my pride, you run and hide, using run in two different ways, to run away, but also to rule, and then the rhyme of hide and pride, and then the difference between I and you also is a really powerful lyrical technique there. So 4 syllables, perfect rhymes, double use of words, and comparing you to I. Like, those 8 syllables are really, really well-crafted lyrics. Then we go to the chorus again. This chorus is exactly the same, with a few different lyrics. Until you go bye-bye. Will you go bye-bye? Like, asking the question, will you go bye-bye, is such a playful way to threaten to kill somebody. Like, it just doesn't match with the image of Kiros from the rest of the movie. I don't love that vibe. I like it a lot on its own, but I don't like how it matches with the character. We go into the bridge. And the bridge is a little bit more aligned with who Kiros is in the rest of the movie, but it almost makes him into a stereotype. Like this beginning of the bridge section, bye-bye, for vengeance is mine, like singing vengeance is mine up to a big high G is such a, I don't know, it feels like a cartoon flattened down villain. What makes Scar such a complex villain in The Lion King is that he has a really understandable motivation. This here feels a little bit like Kiros is just, you know, a stereotype of a villain rather than being a multi-dimensional character. Then we have this, which also as a lyric, like, I get it, but it doesn't feel linked to what's come before in the song. And it feels actually kind of like this is the point of the song. If I'm the last of my line, I must be strong. And this almost taps into an interesting motivation for Kiros, but we just don't get enough of it, right? Like, if I'm the last of my line, I must be strong. So is Kiros' motivation that he wants to preserve his line and he knows he's the last member of his line, and so he wants to take over the Valley of Kings so that he can propagate his lineage or whatever? Like, we're just not getting enough of that in the song because we're too busy going bye-bye. You know what I mean? Like, there just isn't the same opportunity to delve into Kiros' motivations, I think. But what I like about this is this steady line of quarter notes. This is the only time in the entire song that we get this rhythm. Da, 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 da. Most of the song is all this like syncopated 16th note stuff or the triplets, remember? Here, it's steady quarter notes. And that makes it feel very forceful. I must be strong. I like that. I also like this little backup part, this counter melody here that comes in from the minions of Kiros. Like a dream that just doesn't let up, and you scream because you cannot get up, get up. I like that. They have these echoes, and then we end with this truncated chorus. So instead of doing the whole chorus again, I'm gonna blah, 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 we just have bye bye, I make you go bye bye. And then this is my favorite part of the song because you've got this combination of musical theater and like Broadway sound and hip hop, which is very Lin-Manuel. You get this in the echoes, bye 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 bye, so long. In harmonies, it's like all that jazz. It's the same kind of vibe. Long. It's a big Broadway ending, but then Kiros is going, which feels more like, you know, Hercules Mulligan being like to Hamilton. It's also interesting and really, really creative, and this speaks to Lin-Manuel Miranda's genius more than anything in this song, I think. Using lion sounds as like hip-hop ad-libs is a stroke of genius, and I really wish we had more of that in the movie, because I think that's so clever. The way that he's, you know, using like a lion growl and then like lion, like short little roars almost as hip-hop ad-libs is just, that just tickles me. I just love that so much. So that's the song. I think that it works passably. I think it's catchy on its own. I think it's well written on its own. I just wish that there was more cohesion between Lin-Manuel Miranda's songwriting and the script writing so that these characters could be fully fleshed out and consistent. It just doesn't ring true when you have a very serious, scary villain suddenly turn around and be playful for no reason. It just takes you out of the story. And in musical theater, the songs are supposed to bring you deeper into the story, and that's just not what this song does for me. Compare it to, you know, Be Prepared from the original Lion King, which I think is one of the best villain songs ever written. First of all, the language that's used in Be Prepared is so unique to Scar. I know that your powers of retention are as wet as a warthog's backside. What, like, who talks like that? That's so specific to Scar. There's not a single line like that in Bye Bye. Not a single line that is that specific to the character. The closest thing is the circle of vultures up high. They keep stealing glances, they don't like your chances, and neither do I. Because he's singing about the vultures, that feels specific to the setting. In the way that wet as a warthog's backside, that image feels specific to the setting. But the language is just not as delicious in Bye Bye, not even close, as the language in Be Prepared. And secondly, Scar's motivation is so clear. He's a terrifying villain because he has a very human need for power and to be recognized and respected. And in the song, he sings about the fact that he has never been respected. And obviously he's, you know, delulu and arrogant, and he thinks he should be seen for the wonder I am, which is a lot. But it's still a human motivation. Kiros just seems like a I want to say cartoon character, but Scar is actually a cartoon, and he has more depth than Kiros. So that's my kind of critique of Bye Bye, and this critique stands for every song in Mufasa and almost every song that Lin-Manuel Miranda has ever written with Disney. Is the music is great, it's a bop. Lin knows how to develop a melody, he knows how to write a catchy chorus, but he just isn't, for some reason, and I'm suspecting it's because of the way that they're writing these movies, he just isn't writing songs that are melding with the characters that the scriptwriters are trying to create. And I think that for Lin to win his Oscar, he needs to write a song that is really, really tied specifically to a character that the audience can fall in love with. There you have it. Vote for Tommy Rhodes. Come check out Broadway Maven Rush Week, and I will see you next time here on Music Theater Theory.